Hey guys, it's Dr. Bickling from Own It Dental. As always, here's my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. And if you guys are enjoying these videos, please do hit that thumbs up button. It's right down below. It only takes you a second as long as you don't have any objections. Speaking of objections, today we're going to talk about overcoming objections in dentistry. So let's dig into it. All right, so today's video is another part of the series of why your doctors can't produce or why they're not selling dentistry. And last time we talked about, starting off talking about awareness and concern, and you start talking about the conditions that patients are aware of and concerned with. Therefore, you're building empathy with the patient and building trust with the patient because you're starting out with something that they're aware of. But eventually, us dentists, all we do is we like to educate our patients, and educating patients, we only tend to move them sideways on that thing. We need to move them up past that objection, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we dig into it, first I want to tell you a little story. Some of you may have heard this one before, but I think it's worth telling again. Way back in 2018, December 29th, as a matter of fact, it was the Saturday before New Year's Eve. Our office was open. It was an early Saturday morning, just before 7 a.m. We didn't even open until 8 a.m., but just before 7 a.m., our staff is starting to filter in, and a patient parks his truck out there. And let me grab my pointer here. All right, patient, you can see his truck. He's parked right there, and comes in. He's like holding his jaw. He's like, "Yeah, I've been up all night. I got a toothache." And we're starting our morning huddle, and our associate, he snaps his fingers. He says, "Let's get a room set up." So the staff gets a room set up. We scrap the morning huddle and everything, and I'm all excited. I'm like, "Yes, this is why we're open 7 days a week. This is why we do this, because we're literally the only dental office in the state that can help this guy, right? He's up all night in pain, and all these other dentists, may not even be open until after the first of the year." So, I'm excited. They set up a room, they seat the gentleman, start taking care of them. I walk across the street and I'm making this little TikTok video. I'm like, "Hey guys, Strong Smiles Dental Care, open 7 days a week, look at us," and I'm walking to go get the staff bagels. And anyway, I come back, "Hey guys, there's bagels in the back," right? So I sit down in my office, and then a few minutes goes by and I see this guy, he's walking out the front door, and he's holding a piece of paper. So I go to my associate. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Why didn't we treat this guy? And my associate's like, he just didn't want to do it. I said, "Well, what do you mean he didn't want to do it? He was up all night with a toothache." He's like, "Oh no, he said he was going to go home and think about it." I was like, "Well, what's there to think about? You had a toothache, And so, dealing with associates sometimes, ruffles my feathers. So I kind of let it go. And, the day went on and so on and so forth. So, but then at the end of the day, we saw 38 patients that day, and we have a software that sends out to give us reviews. At the end of the day, we had a negative review, or at least not a perfect 5-star review, and from only one patient, and it was this guy that we saw at like 7 a.m. and he just walked in, and we were the only office in the state, let alone probably the Mid-Atlantic, that could have helped this guy, and he gave us a 1-star review. And I'm like, so I gotta figure out what's going on, right? So I do a deep dive and I look at the treatment plan, and here's the treatment plan. And this isn't massive, he was holding his chin here, so it's probably tooth number 30 that was bugging him, right? But we give him this treatment plan, and there he goes. He walks out the door with a $8,000 treatment plan on a Saturday morning after he's been up all night, right? And so, one of the things that was going on as the staff was setting up the room for this guy, I was listening to him talk to the front desk, and he says he has 2 elderly parents at home that he takes care of, and he's on a shoestring budget. His words, right? So what do? We give him an $8,000 solution, right? And I know that it's not that one tooth that costs $8,000. That's the whole thing. But all the patient saw was $8,000 or $7,800. That's all he saw. That's all he saw. We didn't give him any other options. And this is one of those things where the doctors just see it, say it. As I talked about in the last video, they just see something and they say it, and then there goes the patient walking out the door with a treatment plan. And he didn't get helped, and that certainly doesn't help our office. And when this happens, I just wait for the 1-star review, because our doctors just see something and they spit out everything that they see. And And I just love these. These aren't all mine, but these are just doctors in the area. And have fun with this. Google the dentist in your area and just check out their 1-star reviews. And what are they all about? They're all about money. Look at this one. This place is a joke. $2,200 for a crown and root canal. Like that's a reasonable fee, right? To us, but to patients, like we got to start looking at the world through their eyes, because that's really what empathy is. And if you want to build trust, you have to start being empathetic. We got to stop trying to raise patients up to what we believe. We have to start thinking the way they think and empathize with it. And that's going to be the start of overcoming objections, is empathizing with people. So in the last video, I talked about this, the 4 categories, of awareness and concern. And I said that, educating patients only moves them from here to here. He's already aware that he has pain. Now we just made him smarter. Or we just moved this patient from here to here. In order for them to say, yes, we got to move them up. We got to move them from here to here. But there's something stopping them, and that's the objection, right? We're going to talk about objections. The nice thing about dentistry is there's only 4 of them, right? And we already know what they are. So what are they? But before we get into that, let's talk about the 3 steps in overcoming an objection. First, anticipate the objection. Like I said, there's only 4 of them, so it's easy to anticipate. Then validate the objection. I can't tell you how many times I hear people argue with staff over their objection. And then third, eliminate the objection. And I'm going to give you my technique for doing that. So like I said, first one, anticipate the objection. Listen, patients don't say no to dentistry for logical reasons. They say it for emotional reasons. We just justify our decisions with logic, right? And that emotional reason is called the objection. But like I said, the good news in dentistry, there's only 4 of them, right? So what's the first one? Money, right? Of course. Money's an emotional reason, right? Second one is fear. Of course, fear is emotional, right? Time. Have you ever been late for work? What's your heart rate doing? Boom, 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 right? Time is an emotional reason. And then, of course, trust. Trust is the last one. These are our 4 emotional reasons that are our objections that are preventing patients from getting their dentistry done. So we know what they are. They're one of these 4 things. Matter of fact, if you're open 6 or 7 days a week and you have plenty of availability, time shouldn't even be one of them. So then we can narrow it down to 3. All right, so if I were to put them in order, I think trust is the biggest one. Like I said, if you're open 6 or 7 days a week, you're already open more than the average dentist. So time should be the least of the objections. I think trust is the biggest one, followed by fear. And I think that these 2 have a combined component together. I think money's a fake objection. Sometimes it can be a real objection, but I'm going to teach you how to overcome that objection anyway. All right, so first thing is we anticipate it. We already know what the objection is going to be. It's going to be one of those 4 or some combination of the 4, right? The second thing is validate the objection. I can't tell you how many times a patient tells us their objection and somebody argues with them. Man, doc, I'm really scared of the dentist. There's nothing to be scared of, stupid. Like, yes, there is something to be scared of, right? We're sticking needles and drills in their mouth. They're correct when they say they're scared. They should be scared. So when a patient tells you their objection, don't argue with them. Validate their objection. Say, you know what, you're right. It is scary. But I'm going to take really good care of you, and I'm going to make sure that you don't feel any discomfort. And we're going to make this as easy as possible. Validate their objection, right? If somebody says, "Man, that sounds like a lot of money," don't say this stupid thing like, "Don't think of it as a cost, think of it as an investment," right? That's just stupid. It's a cost and it's an expense. It's not an investment. Like they put $1,000 into their front tooth and it's going to compound annually at 10%, and in 7 years their tooth is going to be worth $2,000. No, it's not an investment. It's a cost. It's a repair. It's like if the roof of your house, if you need a new roof on your house, that's not an investment. It's a repair. It's a cost. So when the patient tells you their objection, if it's money, say, you know what, you're right, it is expensive. But then we're going to go ahead and talk about the next steps in overcoming that objection. All right, so when a patient tells you their objection, don't argue with them. Validate their objection. And see it from their perspective. And by the way, that's called empathy, right? Don't try to educate them, inform them, raise their dental IQ and all that stuff to try to bring them up to your level of knowledge and expertise. No, see it through their eyes. agree with whatever their objection is, and then we'll get into eliminating it, and I'll teach my technique on doing that now. So now we're going to eliminate the objection. Like I said, if you're open 6 or 7 days a week, time shouldn't even be an objection. You're already open more than anyone next to you. I can't tell how many people come in to see me simply because their dentist either isn't open or can't get them in, right? So time shouldn't even be an objection if you're running your business properly. Now we're down to the last 3 objections. So how do we eliminate them? So when I'm eliminating the objections, I like to use a what-if scenario or a hypothetical scenario. So let's say fear is one of their objections. So I might say, well, what if we could use sedation? What if we could sedate you? But then would that be okay? And you'd be surprised how many patients are like, yeah, man, I didn't know you guys could do that. Or, oh, you mean I could be asleep for it? Yeah, come on in. We can do some conscious sedation for you. You'll go home, you'll take a nap, you'll wake up, and you won't remember anything. Like, yeah, let's take care of it. Let's do it, right? So if fear really is an objection, just use a what-if scenario, a hypothetical. Well, what if we could use sedation or nitrous oxide or something like that? So that should eliminate fear or something along those lines. What about money? What if money is their objection? Well, again, you use your what-if, your hypothetical. Well, what if we just did 1 tooth at a time or a couple of teeth at a time? Or what if we could set up a payment plan for you? Would that work for you? So use these hypotheticals. Use what-if scenarios. Until you can get to an agreement with the patient. Because remember, having them walk out the door and get nothing done, that doesn't help them in any way, right? And it doesn't help you in any way. It doesn't help your staff. It doesn't help anybody. Everybody loses if a patient says no. So, if you get to an objection, just use a what-if scenario and say, well, what if we could do this for you? Try to overcome that objection with a hypothetical or a what-if scenario that works for both you and the patient, right? So that should take care of money. But last, and I think this is the biggest objection, is trust. And that's what we're going to get into in the next few videos, is how to build trust. Because I think this is the #1 objection in dentistry. I think that if you take care of trust, that money and fear shouldn't even be an objection at all, or it's going to be a very small objection, and you should be able to easily handle it with a what-if scenario, hypothetical scenario. So we're going to talk about building trust, because this is the trust zone right here. You've eliminated that objection. This is the trust zone right here, and this is where patients say yes to dentistry, and this is where patients say no to dentistry. Educating them does not move them up. It only moves them this way on the thing. So by the way, sorry about that. I did some boxing today, so that's what that is. Anyway, so we need to move them up past the objection, and we do that with building trust, and that's what we're going to talk about in the next few videos, some other ways of building trust. But it first starts with empathy. It first starts with anticipating their objections, validating their objections. Let the patient know that you understand where they're coming from. You eliminate the objection with a what if or a hypothetical scenario until you can come to an agreement. So, in any case, I'm Dr. Bickling. Hope you enjoyed this video. Here's my contact information, and I'll see you on the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like it, go to ownitdental.com or click the link above and check out my services. I have dozens of hours of training videos, and I've negotiated reduced lab fees for all my clients. So if you want to get out of the dental chair and start owning your business, go to ownitdental.com and check out my services, and I'll see you soon.